In 1827, the then Nawab Nasiruddin Haider laid the foundation of the Ganj market by introducing the China Bazaar and Kaptan Bazaar, which sold goods from China, Japan, and Belgium. The famous Tara Wali Koti Dargah of 12 Imams at Khas Muqam, Choti Chhattar Manzil, Sawan Bhado Mahal, the present location of the zoo, the stunning Baradari, which was earlier situated between Kaisar Bagh, Darul Shafa, and Lal Bagh, also emerged during his regime. In 1842, the name of the area was changed to Hazratganj after Nawab Amjad Ali Shah, who was popularly known by his alias Hazrat. After the First War of Independence in 1857, Britishers took over the city, and Hazratganj was modelled after London's Queen Street. Many old Mughal style buildings were demolished and new European structures came up. When Ahmad Shah died, his son Wajid Ali Shah got an Imambara constructed in Siptanabad at a cost of 10 lakhs. The magnificent edifice is now called Siptanabad Imambara, which is a centrally protected monument and a Shia Waqf under the UP Shia Central Board of Waqfs, and situated on Mahatma Gandhi Marg, opposite Halwasia Market. The monument, which was under heavy encroachment and neglect, has recently been restored to its old glory and is a heritage lover's delight. Ring Theatre, the present General Post Office, served to add the ballroom and theatre for the British officers and was called Entertainment Centre. It is another matter that its doors would be closed for the natives. This place was exclusively for the Britishers, and natives were barred from entering. Later on, it was converted into a special court and witnessed the hearing for the Kakori conspiracy case. In 1929 and 1932, the building was restored in Gothic style, and a clock tower was constructed in the center, and the General Post Office, which was then situated in Janpath, was shifted to this building after that. Hazratganj, officially called Queen's Way, perhaps this period was the heyday of Hazratganj, when it became a center of fashion, much merrymaking, and a true commercial hub. The Prince of Wales Theatre, later Prince Cinema, was the first cinema hall of Hazratganj, which traced its origin from the Prince of Wales' visit in 1876. In 1934, the plaza, then Regal, then Filmistan, and present-day Sahu, came up in the parking space in front of Prince Cinema. Capital opened in 1937. All three halls serving the purpose of cinema as well as theatre performances. 1939 saw the inauguration of the Mayfair building with the Mayfair Cinema, a bar, and a ballroom. The Ambassador Restaurant and Dance Hall came up subsequently. In the 30s, Royal Cafe, then situated in the Halwasia Court, was famous for its live band. Valerio's tea room and dance floor functioned from the present premises of the Gandhi Ashram. An English departmental store, Whiteaway, Laidlaw and Company, existed where the present LIC building now stands. Other prominent British shops included A. James and Company, Murray and Company, Ace H. Clark and Company, Anderson's. Among the Parsi outlets we had Sorabji, Meenu and Dinshaw, and Tarapurwala. Drinking, dancing, seeing risque live shows, enjoying Chinese dinners, buying the latest trousseaux imported from London, colonial Hazratganj had it all. It was truly the place to be at that point of time. Perhaps Hazratganj will never see such bohemian, carefree days again. Independence and afterwards. World War II and India's subsequent independence had a sobering effect on Hazratganj. From drinking, dancing and dining people gravitated to coffee shops, confectionaries, and sedate dinners. Stricter rules of censorship ensued that risque shows like the Hotcha Girls faded into oblivion. Prohibition ensured strict control of liquor sales. Use of electricity for commercial purposes was restricted, and construction of non essential buildings had a telling effect on Hazratganj's carefree days. Who says that freedom doesn't come at a price? For Lucknowites, freedom came, perhaps at the cost of another kind of freedom, the freedom to be carefree and enjoy life. Novelty Cinema opened in Lal Bagh in 1947, followed by Basant in 1948. Restaurants like Quality, Ranjana, Annapurna, and New India Coffee House, K's Cozy Corner, and Chinese restaurants like Chon Hing and Simpson continued to draw crowds of the indigenous kind. The most unique of them all was the India Coffee House, started in 1938 in the premises of the Jahangirabad mansion, which became a center for the gathering of city intellectuals after independence. Post-partition, the influx of refugees from Pakistan created a drastic change in the market dynamics of Hazratganj. The customers' profiles also changed. Kiosks, shanties, and encroachments came up, changing the look of the market forever. An agglomeration of such kiosks before the regular shops in the Baig building opposite the DRM's office created the now defunct yet famous Lovers Lane, where the space between shops was so narrow that jostling and body brushing became inevitable. Over time, Lovers Lane acquired a USP of its own, and people went gunging or loitering in the market for the sole reason of crossing Lovers Lane not once but several times over. Over successive decades, Hazratganj continued to evolve as a market, although it remained confined between the Vidhan Sabha crossing and the Halwasia court. Further development of shops being hampered for the obvious reason that there was no space for expansion. For some curious reason, contiguous Lal Bagh could never acquire the touch of glamour and heritage value that Hazratganj had. Several landmarks of Hazratganj, like the Kazim and Company, Mayfair, Ranjana Restaurant and British Council Library, Benbow's New India Coffee House and modern novelties disappeared into oblivion. Others, like Malik's, Cheap House, Rupani Brothers, Bora's and Devi Radiogram, survived, despite changing customer profiles and tastes. More recently, Saharaganj Mall proved to be a stiff competition to aging Hazratganj, but could not quite replace it. After all, there are malls and malls, but only one Hazratganj. As a survival strategy, Hazratganj had two drastic makeovers, first in the late 70s and then in 2010 and 11. The latter needed no elaboration since it is still fresh in the memory of Lucknow's citizens. The earlier makeover, however, was no less drastic. Under the leadership of Rajiv Ratan Shah, the then city administrator, by the 70s, Hazratganj had become crowded, unplanned, and choked with encroachments. It needed a fresh lease of life to survive as a modern market in the coming decades. Accordingly, the old-style manual traffic signals were replaced by automatic traffic lights. The pavements were uprooted, rationalized, and laid with tiles with safety grills. All illegal shanties, kiosks, and assorted commercial establishments were demolished, and most shop owners were rehabilitated in the under-construction Janpat market in the Begum Koti area. Two administrative decisions of far-reaching consequence were also taken during the makeover of 1975. The first was the complete demolition of the Lovers Lane in the Baig building, and secondly, the adoption of the universal color scheme in which all buildings of the particular area would be similarly colored. After many hiccups and protests, the pink and beige scheme was implemented in Hazratganj. It survives till today. Thankfully, no one has tried to create any controversy over this. as some people are wont to do. Lucknow Metro project recognized the heritage value of Hazratganj and accordingly went for underground lines in the area. The metro line has surely improved connectivity, just like it has done for Connaught Place and Chandni Chowk in Delhi, giving a fresh lease of life to these perennially crowded markets. Incidentally, for the citizens of Lucknow, the makeover of the 70s resulted in demolition of a heritage building, the venerable Begum Kothi, amidst much public outcry. The second makeover resulted in the demolition of the colonial Hazratganj Kotwali, again amidst much protest, which has celebrated its centenary year in 2009. Evolution is indeed a continuous process, and the old must make way for the new. While looking forward eagerly to the future, we can but pause for a while in our busy lives and shed a tear over the times gone by, good or bad.